Pythagorean theorem. Of course, you know, guys, we always start off with our definition. So what is the Pythagorean theorem? It's a formula used to find the side lengths of a right triangle. And here's your formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So since we're talking about a right triangle, each one of these letters has a purpose. The A and the B, they are your legs. Your legs are basically the two sides of your right triangle. The C is your hypotenuse. There are a couple of things that you need to know about your C. It is always your longest side. Some refer to it as your slanted side, but as you can see with this triangle right here, if your triangle is turned upside down and laying on the slanted side, it doesn't look slanted now, does it? And but your hypotenuse is always across from your right angle. That's how you know where it is. 1, it's your longest, and 2, it's across from your right angle. So take a look at these diagrams. Here's my right triangle, here's my right angle. It kind of points to your C. Here's my right triangle, here's my right angle. As you can see, it's pointing to your side C. My right triangle, my right angle, and again, it is pointing to the C. So your hypotenuse, it's your C in the formula, it's your longest side, and it's always across from the right angle. So let's talk about how this formula is used. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if I've got a picture of a right triangle and I'm telling you that this length is 6 and this length is 8, well, I plug those numbers into the formula. First step will never change. Write your formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, the one thing that doesn't matter are your legs. This could be your A, this could be your B, or this could be your A and this could be your B. Your A and your B are kind of interchangeable. The one that is not is your C. So I'm going to use 6 as my A, so 6 squared. I'm going to use 8 as my B, 8 squared. I don't know my C, so I'm just going to leave it as C squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. So 36 plus 64 is 100. 100 is my C squared. But we don't want to know the C squared. We want to know the C, which is the length of your side. So you have to square root that. The square root of 100 is 10. And so I know that this triangle right here, it's 6, 8, and this length right here, this missing length is 10. Here's another example. I've got one leg, I'm missing a leg, and I'm given the C. I'm giving my hypotenuse. So write your formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. That will always be your first step, is to write the formula. Plug in your numbers. I don't know my A, so I'm just going to write a squared. My b is 3 squared, and my c is 5 squared. So I'm going to solve. 3 squared is 9. 5 squared is 25. So I know that something plus 9 is equal to 25. We've all done one-step equations. We know that we've got to subtract that. So a squared is equal to 16, which means my A is the square root of 16, which is 4. Okay, now let's take another look at this formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, we know that if it's a squared and we're talking about a square, take a look at this diagram. I've got 3 squares placed strategically together to where their sides form a what? A right triangle. So the side of this square is also the side of this triangle. The side of this square is the side of this triangle, and the side of this square is the side of this triangle. I know that this number right here is going to refer to my C. How do I know that? Because it's directly across from my right angle. Okay, I know that this square over here is going to be either my A or my B. So take a look. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, this right here, this number is the area. The area is already a squared number. So do I plug 225 in here and then square it? No, I don't have to because it's already squared. So I just replace c squared with 225. Now take a look at this number. This is 12. That says this side length is 12 and this side length is 12. Is 12 a squared number? No, it's not. It's the length of the side. So when I replace my b with 12, I do have to go ahead and square it because it's the side length, not the area. So I replace b with 12 and then I square it, which is 144. And then I'm going to solve for my missing side a squared is 81, and my side length is the square root of 81, which is 9. So it could ask you multiple questions. It could ask you, what is the area of this square? Well, the area is 81. Or what is the side length? The side length is 9. So depending on what the question asks you, you could be looking for the side length of a square, you could be looking for the area of a square. And we know that they work together because they are formed to make a right triangle. Okay, now most of the time they're not going to say use Pythagorean theorem to solve this. They're going to give you some sort of scenario in a word problem, and it's going to create a right triangle. So I'll give you a moment to read that. As you can see, I've written the word problem and I've drawn a little diagram over here. It tells you that a ladder is leaning up against a house. The ladder is 17 feet long. So here's my ladder leaning up against a house. The ladder is 17, and if it's leaning up against a house, that house creates a right triangle with the ground. Okay? It says the ladder reaches up 15 feet up the side of the house. So if the ladder is leaning on this side of the house and it's 15 feet high, that's one of your legs. It wants to know how far is the ladder from the base of the bottom of the house. We are missing one of our legs. So of course we plug it into our formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. We know our c, that's the ladder length, which is 17. So 17 squared is 289. And we know our leg is 15 squared, so that's 225. 289 minus 225 is 64. Square root of 64 is 8. So we know that this length right here is 8 feet. And here's our summary. The Pythagorean theorem is a formula used to solve for the lengths of right triangles. The formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The legs are the a and the b, and the hypotenuse is the c. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle and is the longest side.